Hello, viewers, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to another edition of your weekly State of Affairs program, your flagship political program here on QTV. I'm your host, Alio Sise, with my co-host, Sidi.
Thank you very much, Alio.
Thank you very much, Shidi. Well, tonight we are looking at the issue of women and people living with disabilities participation in politics, especially at this time when we are in the voter registration. And also, we will look at the issue of media and election, which is very critical as far as this year is concerned. Well, I'm glad to say we are joined in the studio by Auntie Yasin Seka, a nominated National Assembly member who is also part of the Parliamentary Select Committees on Health, Education, Human Rights, Public Petition, and Interparliamentary Committee. Auntie is also one of the few female MPs that we have in the parliament. Auntie Yasin, thank you so much for joining us on State of Affairs.
Thank you very much, Sidi.
Okay, it's Ali actually.
Thank you very much, Ali.
Okay. Well, also in the studio is my colleague, a friend, and Vice President of the Gambia Press Union, who is also a member of the CSO Coalition on Election, Mohamed Esba. MS.
Yeah, thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, well, I'll just start with Auntie Ndeye. Auntie Ndeye, I know you've been following the voter registration. I mean, just recently we have seen the IEC issuing another release where we've seen women are topping as far as the voter registration is concerned. So far, so good. How do you see the process?
Thank you very much, Sidi. Not this process, but since time immemorial, women always come first. But the most unfortunate thing is that women will have their voter's card and then, sorry for saying that, singing and dancing and doing the cooking, not even thinking that they should be part and parcel of politics. So that being the case, it's always like this. Always women are on top, queuing, voting, queuing, registering. Then on the day, on the polling day, they will also queue and vote. But who are they voting for? Are they voting for their counterparts, or are they voting for their companions? No, they are not. So this is always the issue. And then just for me, just as it was, for me, there is nothing that changes. It's the same thing.
So why do you think women attach so much importance to politics?
Why do
they attach so much importance? Why are they so attached to politics? Like you said, they sing and dance, but they also participate.
That is the norm. Since time immemorial, I think the foundation should be solid. If we were taught that women should vote and be voted for, I think they would have been able to know what they should do. But since we were told that you should be in the house, you cannot be not even a minister, but you cannot be a cleaner in the office. Anything may happen to you. Not teaching them, but when this happens, what should be done? So for me, this is the main issue. This is the main problem that we have in the Gambia since time immemorial. Because I remember when I was going to school, there was my one grandfather who was telling my father, "Don't take this child to school. She cannot see, and she's a woman. So how do you expect her to do what people are supposed to do?" So these are all things that we really have in mind since, I don't know, time immemorial.
But have you seen any improvement in terms of having women in key decision making?
Oh yeah,
especially in Parliament, the executive, judiciary, and other sectors. Yes,
especially the judiciary. Now the judiciary, they are coming up. I admire them, and I applaud them. Then the executive is doing at least better, because we have our vice president, who is a lady, and then our ministers. We have some ministers, but still there is room for improvement.
Well, I'll come to my colleague, Anthony. I'll get back to you. Let me just engage my colleague here, Mohamed Esba, Vice President of the Gambia Press Union and also a member of the CSO Coalition on Elections. MS, this is a very crucial year for the Gambia, and the media is not left behind. What do you think should be the role of the media in amplifying, the voter registration process?
All right, thank you very much. The role of the media didn't change since the beginning of probably after independence. So I think the media is very important. It's a very important critical stakeholder in any developmental process, because the media is giving the role to hold government and elected representative accountable. However, we know that also holding them accountable is obviously giving out information to the people, and then also trying to make sure that people understand whatever is happening. So the role of the media is very, very important. First is to ensure that people understand the importance of why you should go and register. Obviously we know the understanding rate of Gambians. It's very low. Not many, but if you look at the rate is low. So media has a greater role to play. Mm-hmm. They also have to ensure that there is fair and balanced reporting on issues, like if on IEC, on the process itself, on ensuring that people understand the process itself, to be well equipped with the information, so that they will know if their rights are violated. Obviously, they will know that, it should not be like that. For instance, I'll give you an example. The media should make the public to understand what kind of documents are required before you go and register. And then why is it that people should go with this documents, which is stipulated under the Constitution and under the Election Act. So the role of the media is very, very vital in these processes. So it's very important as well.
But from your observation, do you think the media is actually playing this role, as you rightly mentioned?
Actually, the media is playing the role. Now the media is saturated. Like when I say saturated, in the sense that you have other media like the social media, where citizen journalists or even people will send information. Sometimes their intention is to disinform. Intentionally, some will misinform. Some will disinform because they have an agenda. Some will misinform because they don't know. So this is what is happening. So it is the role of the mainstream media to demystify those myths. Like, for instance, they will allege that some alcalos are giving attestation. It's the media to ensure that to minors and foreigners, media should ensure that that is fact checked and ensure that it is true or it is not true. The media should also look into those that are giving responsibilities, like the alcalos, the safehold, IEC themselves, whether IEC is serving its purpose, whether IEC is ensuring that the taxpayers' money is going to what it deserves, for what it is catered for, because this money, the 300+ million, is from taxpayers' money. Whether IEC is following the rule, the law, because whatever IEC is doing, it should be with the law, according to the law. So these are the things, that media sort of, for instance, like the deployment of the team. The media should know whether the IEC has followed due process, like gazetting the names and who are those people that are involved, whether the IEC was biased in terms of their election selection of those people, whether the gadgets, are things that are not even bringing problems during the processes, whether people who goes to the queue by 5 are giving voters card. So these are things, and also educating the masses to come out to ensure that they know Section 26 of the Constitution, which is their political right, the right to vote and to be voted for. So all these things, media, the media, the role of the media is very, very key in this.
Well, before I allow my co-host to come in, I just want you to just help us here. You're talking about the issue of citizen journalism. Now everybody is a journalist, social media, and all that. What do you think should be the solution now in addressing the issue of the disinformation and misinformation? Because this is election, and people will use all means just to have their agenda achieved.
Yeah, the solution is the media. The mainstream media. When I say talk about the media, is the mainstream media, because people tend to believe audios that they just mere audios that they hear from forums on WhatsApp, and then these are early warning signs that are very dangerous. I've heard an audio, very dangerous audio, insulting a political figure. Saying all sort of things that he is trying to undermine the registration process. Some are even alleging, bringing audios that are very serious on the IEC. So I think this is where the media comes into play, to ensure that always people are fed with the correct and proper information. This will at least minimize the myth of people having the belief on these WhatsApp audios, and also may have Facebook lives, because anyone can just sit and then you eat, you enjoy yourself, and then go in your corner, and because you have an agenda, you want to inform people, different. And sometimes these are intellectuals, people you call intellectuals that are sending this information.
Quite unfortunate. I'll just allow my co-host to come in here now, and then we'll get back to you.
I'll go to Auntie. And today, I guess you are aware, in this sitting of the National Assembly, they will be tabling the disability bill.
What's your reaction when you first heard about that? Because for as you always said, from memorial, this is something that was really needed in this country. Though the infrastructure, as far as buildings and government institutions actually don't have, how can we accommodate that?
Even when I was coming here, I was telling Aliu that your structure is not disability friendly.
Yeah, exactly. I have to admit.
Obviously.
I told him that I can access it, but what about the other types of persons with disabilities?
Yeah.
I say you cannot cater for one type of disability and leave the rest. What about if you happen to invite someone on a wheelchair?
On a wheelchair.
How do you expect him to access this?
No
building?
lift, no ramp.
So nothing, and then there are not even no rails on the stairs, so that if I am coming up, really I have to be very, very careful. Sidi, let me come to your question. What I'm saying here is that I cannot believe that the disability bill will be enacted until when it is all those who say all those in favor, please say aye. That is the time that I will say, now it is there. Because this is what has been happening, but when it comes to us, it has gone some steps forward. So hopefully it will come. But for me, I am really surprised, but I am still optimistic. I am skeptical, sorry.
Do you see the political will behind it?
Sort of, maybe, sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. Because if you look at it, when they touch it, if they touch it, they will leave it for a long time and then they come back again. So I think if they hear what I'm saying, I think they will really come on board and see how that, because we are part and parcel of society. We vote, but we have never been voted for. I think they are just fooling us by nominating us. But nonetheless, half a loaf is better than none. We are grateful with with them who nominated us and who made sure that we are nominated. So that being the case, I think that is why persons with disability are at least visible in this country. Gone are those days when we were not visible. Gone are those days when persons with disabilities were arrested. Why? Because they are begging. So these are all issues that have happened in this country. And then if we see this, really, we'll have to applaud the system and think that they will go to a higher height. But still, we have a room for improvement, a big room, in fact.
So we've seen the feet dragging. What do you think probably is behind that? Because, there have been a pledge made. But you can see it's coming to 4 years now. But
still, they are saying that the disability program is expensive. For me, that is what I always hear, that things are expensive. The example that I can give you is that when we say there is going to be an advisory committee, we don't want anything like advisory committee. We even want a commission, because disability is wide, and disability should be catered for. Some of us who call ourselves persons, so-called able-bodied, anything can happen. I was talking to someone. She was having a program. She was going to the market. All of a sudden, she fell down, and the vehicle destroyed the leg.
Wow.
Instantly, when we went to the hospital, the leg was amputated. Just look at that. So that is why I am saying, if we honor disability, it's not for Antinde only. It's not for us who we have it already. But if you don't come up with a good strategy of rehabilitation center for persons with disabilities, if you don't have a commission, but have a office, maybe we are starting with this advisory, because they are talking about advisory committee, but we are going at least a step forward to to talk to them so that they can come with an advisory council at least. But when we say advisory committee, who are they advising? Sometimes some people who are saying that they are working for people with disabilities, they don't know much about persons with disabilities. Nothing for us without us. And he who feels it knows it. I think to bring us on board, to let them know what we want to do, is better than saying that this is what we are going to do. And there must be funding. That funding will be maybe not used properly or inappropriate using of that funding, thinking that they are doing what they should. Yes, they are. But let people know. Let them know that some people who knows what to do should be included in this. We need inclusion, and exclusively in that matter. We need exclusive inclusion as far as persons with disabilities are concerned. Just imagine, what we need is our special needs. So what is available here? Nothing like a braille machine or nothing like a braille note taker, nothing is available. So, and with all that we are struggling, we are struggling to make sure that we do what we are supposed to do. But we are really struggling. Yeah. Nothing is provided for us. What we are having is the philanthropists outside the country. With our organizations that we form, that is where we are able. But since then, since the first government, the second government, and this is the third government, I'm not seeing anything that is available as far as persons with disabilities are concerned. When it comes to education, go to the schools. If we say that we are integrating them or we are mainstreaming them, for what? What is available for them? Nothing, absolutely. And everybody knows that nothing is there when it comes to schooling, education. We need materials. We need hand frame. We need braille machines when it comes to visually impaired. And when it comes to hearing impairment, they need a very good somebody who will be able to interpret the sign language. And when we come to, what about the learning difficulties? Those whom you know that they have learning difficulties, what is there for them? It's only some philanthropists who are coming to assist our Gambian people. And after they want persons with disabilities to vote for them. For me, my vote is going to be what will benefit me, but not to vote for the sake of voting.
Yeah, I don't know whether you have been following, how has it been for the people living with disabilities in terms of this voter registration? Are you monitoring? Are they getting registered?
Yes, because some are taken by some politicians for registration. That is what I had. But for them to go on their own and vote is very limited.
Difficult.
But politicians are going to collect them, take them to vote, so that when it is time for elections, they will take them back and they will vote for them.
I visited a couple of registration centers. I didn't see any person with disability. There was only one I saw, a wheelchair user. And unfortunately, to my surprise, the chap was actually queuing. I had to approach the IEC. I had to approach the IEC team and said, can you actually help this guy to get registered? But you can see even the people on site weren't actually happy the approach that I made. So what's your take on that? What could have been done? What could IEC have done to engage, your organization in terms of facilitating the registration for these people? You
see, I know the chairman of the IEC will not allow me to tell lies. Whatever I say, sorry for using that word, but okay. He will not allow me to say that what he's saying is not true. Because there was a time when, anytime we have program, I will tell him, Your Excellency, persons with disability are part and parcel of society. I told him, if you need, whatever you need, the services of persons with disability, I told him, I can be there to make sure that what we need will be accommodated to persons with disabilities. I told him what we need should be in the budget. I told him, and I am saying it here in the national media, because QTV is everywhere. Let me applaud you for that. But Mr. Mohamed, I want your structures to be disability friendly.
Well, MS, I will now get back to you. You have heard from Antindai. I mean, quite disturbing. But what role do you think the media can play in terms of influencing that change for people's mindset towards people, women, and people living with disabilities?
Yeah, I think first of all, she really made mention of people living with disability being neglected, which is the reality. I think the political commitment towards people living with disability is very low. She could bear me witness the other time. I even coordinated one of the programs on validating and also popularizing the bill, the draft bill, the disability bill. I think what we need is seriousness in this country when it comes to definitely people living with disabilities. We've seen even other facets struggling, but people living with disability are even struggling more, like even the money, the currency. How can you know that this is $100 note if you are visually impaired? How can you know that it's $200? How can you, if you go to the shop buying, they can cheat you easily. So I think those things are all problems. Coming to the elections as well, people living with disabilities, because I've conducted elections, I know how it works. They are secrecy. Their secrecy, it is at stake. What they tell you is, you either go choose a person to go with or choose a presiding officer to go with. Obviously, if you tell the presiding officer or anyone to put it in a specific hole, a candidate's ballot drum, the person can change it, and how would you know? And the person will also know that you voted for this person. So I think all these things are a problem, in this country. It should be, I think it would have been changed. So the role of the media, the media is to ensure that they include, or report issues of disabilities. I think the media is doing it, but to intensify it, you've seen, other newspapers will have a specific disability column where they voice out their
Do
needs.
we have any media in this country?
Yes. For our newspaper had it. Even while QTV can have a special programs on disability, where probably it could be sponsored, and then they can discuss diverse issues around disability.
Or even in the news, you can have a sign language.
Exactly, sign language. Exactly. Look at the TRRC. Even the disabled people living with disabilities were able to comprehend what is happening. So I think the society should be inclusive. Obviously inclusive, because the Constitution, is very inclusive. They didn't say, there is a right to everyone.
I just want to come to you, Mr. MS. I'm not sparing you for questions. I have to ask
No problem. No problem.
Inclusiveness. How inclusiveness as far as the GPU and the press is concerned in the Gambia in terms of disability? That's something you've got to look at.
Yeah, obviously, GPU used to invite people living with disabilities in some of our programs, obviously, and then GPU is a platform for everyone where people can come and then even register as members as well. If they don't register, they can also have a collaborative effort like the CSO coalition. GPU is a member in the steering committee, where could you imagine Barrister Krubali is the vice chair of that committee. So you can see that we're trying to be more inclusive to ensure that whatever we do, it reflects the needs and aspirations of Gambians, not despite your physically challenged or whatever. And we've seen people who were even working in the GPU, who were disabled people, who have disabilities at the highest level. The former executive director, I don't want to call names, but GPU is very inclusive.
Okay. Just before Aliu comes in here, still on your role, coalition of civil society organization or election monitoring. We saw your report recently talking about political agents at voter registration centers. You did reprimand some of those agents. Reprimand in your report that they don't know what they're doing at those voter registration centers. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, that's quite sure. I think you even asked someone in one of your panel discussion. I think your last panel discussion, I was watching it as well. I think it's not only we've seen that over a period of time, like even during elections. What they do, probably your niece, you just tell your niece that, okay, please go and sit there, just see, observe, and then write or collect data. The person will not even know what is his or her purpose of sitting there. Like, you will not be informed about the process itself. This is what is happening, and is the reality. Even if you engage them, sometimes they just call on young boys or girls to just sit, and then they are not even, given the orientation as to what they are going to do. So you see, in many cases, what happened, they will interfere with the process. They will interfere with the process, and it's happening. You can see someone, maybe the person is fair in complexion or the person is dark in color, and they say, hey, you're not Gambian. Come on, could you imagine? Even today, we were in the field, and an old man approached me and told me that, he was being harassed by a party agent. Could you imagine telling him that because his color, he's not a Gambian, and he felt that it should be addressed, and people are discriminated because of that. So I think it is very important to orient them. What they do is, if you feel like maybe Aliou Cisse is not a Gambian, and you show Aliou Cisse on the queue, and then he registered, if he bring out a valid ID card, and then you say, okay, he's not a Gambian, you want to challenge his Gambianism, let me put it that way. What you do, just allow him to register, collect his details, and then not even with him, you have nothing to do with him, but collect his details from the supervisor, or you wait until the things are posted, and then you come and then challenge him. The revising code is there. The form is just $10. I know I'm not preempting, but the form before it was $10. So I don't know if they will add it.
That's the form for
the form too. You just go and then say, Aliou Cisse, I suspect that you take him to the revising court, and the court decides.
Exactly. Unfortunately, I'm a Gambian, actually. I'm a Gambian. I mean, a proud Jaran.
So my guy. Aliou, you are being accused. No, he's a Jaran.
I'm from Jaran, actually. I'm from Jaran. Well, Anthony, just before we got to MS, you were talking about the issue of the political will. I mean, not being there. You talk about the previous governments. They didn't invest that much interest in the welfare of people living with disabilities, particularly even looking about the bill which has been dragging since then. Don't you think our cultural habits and ideas also tend to play a part in all these things?
Aliou, let me tell you this. It has come to my mind. By then we were much younger. Some people are saying that Gambians don't have people with disabilities. They were saying all people with disabilities are coming outside the Gambia. That being the case, some of them were deported.
Wow.
They used to deport them. Even my brother. For me, visual impairment is part of my family. So we are 6 in the family, but 3 of us did not make it. And we made it. We thank God for that. But even that, my brother happens to be one of those who were taken out of the country. That is what they are doing. And look at what the immigration used to do.
Sorry.
It's just unfortunate.
Sorry.
They were just arrested, and just as they are criminals. There was a time during the Ramadan, I went there giving them food because they were arrested because of, they say people with disabilities are loitering around the streets, especially in the market. Don't they have free freedom of movement? And this has been happening in this country. So I just don't know. It is just like that. And then only few of us are people with disabilities, according to them.
And how did that case ended?
They were taken to court. They were put in the box and told them, we don't want to see you loitering. You know what you did is the contradiction of this, I don't know which act. So I wanted to talk, but my sister was telling me to, some of them, they don't even want to talk. So these are all issues that are happening. I told the immigration man, I told me, what happened? He said, these people, they are brought here. I didn't bring them high. I told him, this is so unfortunate. I know if that man is listening, but I don't know the name of that man. I told him, this is so unfortunate. He said, unfortunate, but I said, but what? But what? Why are you saying but? Unfortunate but? Anything, I want to hear from you, but he didn't say. He told me to come and collect my brother, which we did. We went to the immigration and collect him and brought him to the house.
Quite interesting there.
Very interesting.
Quite unfortunate there. But
very unfortunate.
Thank you so much, Antindai MS. Well, viewers, you remember that you're watching State of Affairs here on QTV. This is your flagship political program, which comes every Tuesday and repeated on Sunday at 10 a.m. here on QTV, broadcasting from our studios behind QCell building along Kairaba Avenue. I'm your host, Aliou Cissé, with my co-host, Sidi Cissé. We will go with a short commercial break, and when we return, discussion continues. Hello viewers, welcome back from that short commercial break. You reminded you're watching State of Affairs here on QTV. I'm your host, Aliou Cissé, with my co-host, Sidi Cissé, and our guest tonight, Honorable Antindai Yassin Seka, a nominated member of the National Assembly, who is also part of several committees at the Parliament, including the Committee on Human Rights, Public Petition, you name them. And also my colleague and friend, Mohamed Esba, Vice President of the Gambia Press Union, and a member of the CSO Coalition on Elections. Well, Antindai, just before we go on the break, yes, you want to come in now.
Thanks so much. It's rather unfortunate with some of these revelations. I just want to ask, in your opinion, we had an institution here, and we still have that institution, whether it's functional or it's dysfunctional. That I want to know from you. That is social welfare. One would have imagined that institution would have done so much for people living with disability. But unfortunately, I remember the days I was going to school, they are visible, in fact. Then I can say they were visible. But lately, that institution is not actually visible. Antindai.
Thank you very much. I was working with the social welfare before, when I completed my schooling. Because what used to happen was that the then government, they always collect us and dump us at the Department of Social Welfare. So that being the case, I think the director was fed up. So he decided to terminate our services. There is one boy, I was with him, we went to the same school, but his service was terminated because of his visual impairment. So he went to ombudsman, nothing was done. He was going, coming, until when he was at least fed up. For me, I was fortunate because when my service was terminated, I wrote to GRTS and I was accepted. But even that being accepted, I was there on probation for some time. But later I was appointed. I was there until when I was nominated as a National Assembly. And then maybe what the social welfare leaders did not like, may I say leaders or authorities or whatever, what they didn't like was that I always tell them that social welfare is biased. Because they were just catering for people with physical problems. And even that was not enough. Even what they were doing for people, because the government was not doing nada. What they were doing was just, what was happening was, we had containers from Amos Foundation in Sweden, and then other philanthropists who were sending these, and these are already used.
Yes,
They are second hand. So the moment we start using it, we see that we will have problems. They will come. Sometimes they are crutches. You know the crutches, those that they use working with. Do you know those things? They will need rubber. But those are second hand. So the moment they use it, at the end, it will have a problem. Some of them, you will give them, change their rubber. 1 or 2 weeks, they will come back again. That will show you that what they were giving to them was second hand. And what was the government doing? The then government was not doing anything. These are issues. Nothing was provided as far as persons with hearing impairment was concerned. Nothing was provided as far as people with visually impaired is concerned. What we had and what we do and what we know is that our organizations, we are doing what they are doing, what they are supposed to do. And even that, the international community, we have our friends from the World Blind Union, and these people, they will have their albinism friends abroad, and then the hearing, the physically challenged too, will have their Emos Foundation in Sweden. Those are the ones who were assisting our organizations. Maybe what they produce to us, and we will say thank to them, because what still is our right is the where we had our organization, the land.
The Govi.
Yes, Govi. Govi, the then President Sadauda gave us this land. And look at Govi. We are you know that we are accommodating the federation. Because we are going together, we are doing things. So even the federation does not have a land on their own. Their office is within the Govi premises. And it shouldn't be like that. The federation should have, it's an umbrella organization with more than 10 DPOs, more than 10 disability organizations. So they have just a 2 or 3, let me say, classroom block for the federation. So if you look at persons with visually impaired, we always need space. We always need space, because sometimes the students would like to run, they would like to jump. And the Govi premises is a school. Nothing should be provided for any other organization, but for our, because we need it. It's a special need. It's not a matter of saying that they should not have it. We are not denying anything. But what should be available is what should be available.
Yeah. Quite interesting. Well, it is political year. And then if you are watching State of Affairs and you are aspiring to occupy Marina Parade, please take note of all these things. These are great concerns that, to really be addressed. But MS, listening to Antindai, do you think the media has been reporting on these issues?
Sorry, let me say this.
Yeah.
The media,
okay.
The media, they are reporting, but they only report when we have our programs and invite them.
Okay, when you have workshops and
when we have our workshops. It's only GRTS radio. They have a program every week. Voice of Persons with Disabilities. And then we have Foria. You know, when people are doing good things, call their names.
It's important.
But if they are not doing good things, just don't call their names, but say what they are doing.
Yeah.
But GRTS Radio, they have a program. West Coast Radio, they have a program. City Limits Radio, they have a program. We are calling QTV
and Q Radio.
We have a program.
Obviously.
And now I will tell you, because MS is also the vice president of the Gambia Press Union.
Yeah.
But talking about the media, MS, has the media really been?
The media is reporting, but it is underreporting compared to other aspects. Like, for instance, you always see political reporting. You will see sports reporting. You will see other reportings, other entertainment and stuff. So I think the disability community, the report on disability is not that much, that I will admit, obviously. But definitely, I think it's a challenge that we all should take upon ourselves. I think State of Affairs, you've invited her, you should be inviting more of her, and then probably we have the barrister Krubalis, we have others who need this platform to amplify their voice.
But as far as the GPU is concerned, do you have any strategy?
Actually, GPU strategy is very inclusive. We have inclusive approach to everything. I think what we need is just to intensify, to adjust on specific needs like the disability. I think it's important, but GP obviously it has a very progressive way of doing things, encouraging. GP, you don't have a media, but we are a union that should fight for the welfare of the people, like its members, and also look into critical aspects of society and then at least make sure that we help in media to ensure that everyone
you
is
talk
there.
about, before City comes in, you talk about the issue of welfare of journalists,
Yeah.
and then we know elections approaching. There's a time when journalists will come under attack, from all angles by political parties and their supporters because they believe perhaps Mr. X doesn't report something which favors them. I mean, what is the GPU doing? What plan do you have in place to ensure that the safety and welfare of journalists is really, assault as we approach December election?
Yeah, GPU has been doing a lot. We met the IGP last month to tell him about the importance of the media, especially in election year. And also we've discussed along the way we've made certain recommendation and suggestion to ensure that the suggestions that we made was to ensure that, the police is oriented around the role of the media in election reporting and general reporting with regards to protests and everything that is related to security. And then we also suggested that at least police give us space in their curriculum during their trainings, at least for us to include media aspect of it, the media component, and also orient them, even their senior officers. Because sometimes what happens is, the orientation is lacking. Sometimes the security will think they are the security, they have control over things, and then whatever they say is final. So I think the lack of understanding on people who are on the ground. So we've thrashed out all those things, and then fortunately, the IGP has accepted all those recommendations, and GPU is now working with the police to ensure that these things are implemented. That is one side of it, because if you see the abuses that happen, is mainly from security officers and political party supporters.
But if you look at it, I mean, sometimes some people will say, okay, some journalists think because you are a journalist, I mean, wherever you go, you should be treated like a king and queen. I mean, in terms of our responsibility as journalists, what do you think should be our responsibility, especially media chiefs? We know that, as you said, I mean, we have so many media houses. I mean, so many people are now joining the trade. But in terms of capacity building, I mean, not so many people know where the line is drawn, where you should stop as a journalist.
Yeah. We have what we call macho journalism, journalists who think that they are right. You know why? Because they don't know the risk attached. They don't have the understanding on safety issues, safety of journalists. GPU has training of trainers who will train journalists. We've done several badges, and then we are trying to develop a comprehensive safety guides for journalists and also engage journalists more. And GPU even has made a public engagement with political parties to ensure that they know the role of journalists just recently. And then we will do more to engage the political parties, because these are the main people who abuse journalists. That is the political parties, political party supporters, not only at the opposition, but also even at the people who are in power. So, and security. These are the things. And then these are the people that definitely we are engaging, and the journalists themselves. That is why the GPU brought a very comprehensive code of conduct called the Cherno-Jallo Code of Ethics. Any journalist who wants this code of ethics, you go to the GPU. It's very easy. You get it for free. And we've already distributed the code of ethics. And also we take the opportunity whenever we have programs, we give it to journalists to read. But not only, we put it in a way that you can put it in your pocket and go. But also the responsibility of journalists. Journalists should read. Journalists should read. Journalism is about reading, research, being on top of issues, making sure you understand your situation, your realities, so that you can give out the relevant information to the public.
Thank you very much, MS. We move to Antinde. Antinde, I'll put two questions here because I think we're running out of time. Opposition parties are government in waiting. We have many of them in the list in the Gambia right now, whether before or right now. if you go through their manifestos or when they come on their political platforms, I've never had any of them talk about the needs of those who are physically challenged or living with disability. Are you disappointed?
It's only one political party that has a manifesto that caters for persons with disability. I am more than the word disappointed. That is what I am telling you. I'm telling you that my vote will be put into a boot that will benefit me, but not a boot that I will not benefit. And this is the which word should I use? This is the advocacy that I am putting in place to let my persons with disability to know themselves. Because if you look at it, CD, people with disabilities, we have been discriminated since time immemorial. Just one example, I am visually impaired. Some people will need something in my house. Instead of coming to me to ask me, they will tiptoe and come for it. Take it and go. And this is what is happening. You talk, they say, "Ki dafa nahari deret." Ki dafa nahari deret. She's arrogant. She does not like peace. And you are doing what you are not supposed to do to me, and I know that what you are doing something wrong. I will not allow you to live. I will let you know that we cannot see, but God did not leave us behind because He brought us here as He brought you here. So for me, I will never compromise that. Nobody will discriminate me and sit like, if I know that you are discriminating me, I will leave you forever. Even not even talking to you, because I know that you are discriminating me. You are not training me. You don't want me to be part and parcel of society, but you want to use me. So the same thing happens to all political parties. For me, it's only one political party that made me who I am, and I will continue being with them until the end of my life. I'm not hiding it. Everybody knows that. Because if I happen to take alcohol, if I happen to take alcohol and I am hiding it to the people, what about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He who brought me in this world. He is seeing me. Why should I hide the people? So this is the thing. We should forget about this, which word? I don't want to use the word hypocrisy. But it is
double standards.
I mean, you raise a very important point. I mean, the role of the National Assembly in this whole thing is quite important because they have the oversight function. But like you said, we've had this bill at the Parliament that has been dragging all this while. I mean, will you agree that your colleagues at the Parliament are not also helping? As we speak right now, the bill is set for consideration stage at a date that we are not even sure.
Even yesterday, I was pushing. I was telling the ABC committee that do something. Let the bill come out. But this is what they need. They need push. So we will push them. If you say no to it, I will say yes to it.
I think
that's so. So if whatever is happening for me, maybe they don't need it now, but God forbids, some of us may need it in the future.
Yeah, because I could remember at the deliberation, you mentioned that it has been dragging since 2010.
Since 2009.
And then some of your colleagues were saying, even with that, a due process must be followed.
Exactly.
Were you disappointed by such statement from one of your colleagues?
Yes, because you had it and you were there when I was talking about it. The due process. They say the due process. What due process is that? Even if we know that we have a problem, we should do it in camera. We call each other and see what is supposed to be done. For me, that was what I was expecting from somebody who called him or herself a mature National Assembly member.
I think also the National Assembly has a greater role to play. Now the executive has brought it before the National Assembly since 2017, 2017-18. This thing has been dragging, so now the onus lies on the National Assembly. Dragging. The National Assembly should not also, I know it has some financial implications, but now why not we, after enacting it, we have a progressive way of implementing the bill? Maybe it could be, probably we give a 5 years.
When you talk about the National Assembly, it's not the National Assembly that's going to introduce the bill to the Assembly.
They've already introduced it.
It's already been introduced.
It is there in the National Assembly.
It has been introduced.
Yes.
So for all these years, it has not been introduced because the government actually felt it wasn't in the right time.
But what is
now that it's there before the parliamentarians, what do you think? This is a question for you. What do you think they can do now to push this?
Because we have to scrutinize it.
Is to look at the urgency.
No, we want it.
Yes.
That does not mean that we want it and then put it in
the dustbin.
Yes, exactly.
We need it, but we have to scrutinize it.
Exactly.
Because you see what is happening. There are acts in this country that are already enacted in the National Assembly, but they are there, they are not implemented.
Exactly.
So that being the case, we want to, that also is there, we want to make sure that we scrutinize it clause by clause. And do what we are supposed to, because just say that this disability bill should be enacted, and it is enacted like that. Gone are those days.
Yeah, they can even
when bills are brought in the National Assembly for one day.
Yeah.
Gone are those days when bills for the National Assembly are brought for one day
and passed.
And passed.
Yeah.
So this is what we are running away from now.
And what happened is, I think they can learn from other models. Like before they enact the bill, they can have a chance to go to countries that have successfully, successfully enacted this bill, and now they are implementing it. Like countries like Rwanda, even Uganda. I think Kenya, even South Africa.
They have very good.
Yeah, they have
even Senegal here.
You can even learn the way because
like you said, talking about. Progressive laws. I mean, I have seen the bill, and then the bill is saying, I mean, among other things, it has made provision for the healthcare, social support, accessibility, rehabilitation, education, and vocational training, communication, employment, and work protection, and promotion of basic rights for persons with disabilities and for connected matters. But then, in as much as it is it looks very good on paper. Implementation, are you assured that this will be implemented? We are good at formulating laws, but
that's what I'm saying.
Is a problem.
That's what I'm telling you. And even this that they are talking about, did they talk about any special needs that should be provided for people with disabilities? If you are talking about education, what does the persons with disabilities need as far as education is concerned? Is it there? Nothing is there. They just put it like that. It is that is why we are saying sometimes the bill is vague. That is why we want to make sure that
practical.
It should be more practical.
It should not be like theoretical.
What should be available? What should be
Mm.
available for people with disabilities? If you say education, in terms of persons with visually impaired, what do we need?
Exactly.
If you say education in terms of hearing impairment, what do they need? Is that there? Sign language, you name them, Braille, and then audio, and then you say tactile for some low vision, and even albinos. What is there for the albinos? Nothing.
Quite interesting. MS, we're running out of time. What is your message to journalists and media chiefs as we approach the election?
Yes,
your advice.
Yeah, my advice is to take the election to also know the regulations, read the Election Act to know the regulations, and also engage themselves into reading the code of conduct. It has election reporting and stuff. So let them also be more progressive. The media should also be proactive. I mean, not progressive, proactive to ensure that people are sensitized to know their rights. To the National Assembly, let them bring back the Constitution. It has catered for disability people. So I think it's important, the new Constitution, that it come back and then the issues are solved.
Antinday, your final message?
Thank you very much, Aliu. My final message is nothing for us without us. If you want to say you want to include persons with disabilities, bring us on board. We are the ones who know what is wrong with us. We are the ones who can make sure that we do it together. And united we stand, but divided we fall. Let persons with disabilities also come on board to make sure that sometimes I know we have sacrificed a lot, but the sacrifice has to continue, and we move forward as one people. Let the Gambians know that people with disabilities are here, and we want peace in this country. We don't want anything rather than peace, because if you say that you are creating violence, you will add more disabilities. And what about the persons with disabilities who are already here? What will happen to them? And nothing has been catered for people with disabilities.
Thank you so much, Antinde. There is no better way to end this program than that powerful message from Antinde Yasin Seka, an National Assembly member who is part of several committees at the Parliament, including the Health Committee, Education, Human Rights, Public Petition, and Interparliamentary Committee. Antinde, thank you so much for being on the State of Affairs program. And to my colleague and friend Mohamed Esbah, Vice President of the Gambia Press Union and a member of the CSO Coalition on Election, thank you so much for being on the State of Affairs. And to my co-host Siri, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on this program. Well, viewers, with that we complete on this program. Do join us next week. Until then, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.